Inevitably, when I talk with people nowadays, especially in manufacturing, automotive, things like that, one of their first questions is, yeah, but what about security with your crazy container, Kubernetes, agile way of doing things? To be kind of snarky, I think part of the answer is that of course it's secure. But more reassuringly, part of the answer is that if security is such an important feature, which you can imagine in a car, right? Like you don't want someone hacking into the car and taking it over. You've got to make sure that the connections between all the components in there, that data center on wheels, are secured and authorized. In a system like that, the development team thinks about security as a primary feature that they have. This is that idea of shifting left. Security isn't just something that is a mystery that you layer in there. It's an actual feature, a story, if you're thinking in Scrum terms, that the developers do. This might mean that they need to learn how to do things in a secure way. It might mean that security people need to work with them, but it's something that's baked in there, and it can be managed and delivered and even experimented with in the same way that we would follow the small batch loop process on a weekly cycle to learn about new features in there. So don't assume that if you're changing the way that you're doing software, you're doing it in a more agile way, you're doing DevOps and all of that stuff, don't assume that it's at the detriment of security or governance. Those are features that you put in there and track. And I would suggest even you'll get a better result. You'll probably automate it more. You'll think about the people who care about security and auditing as customers. And developers will be much better at implementing those features rather than having it be some sort of mystic thing hoisted on them later on in the process. Well, if you're interested in that, we've got a lot of great discussions of a concept of DevSecOps. There's a great interview I had with one of my colleagues that I would suggest you dig into further, where Chris actually goes over what it looks like to have a tool chain that's secure. To check that out, just go to tanzutalk.com and you can click to find it. You can also get free copies of my books and all sorts of other things.